Chapter 13. When Darkwood wants to pretend it's civilized, it puts on a ball. Martha tells me that in the corridor on the way to my room, like it's a warning. Everyone important will be there, she says. Everyone who hates everyone else, in one room, in pretty clothes. Nothing ever goes wrong. That sounds completely safe, I say. Exactement. Somewhere else, in another castle that also lies to itself, Sasha is supposed to be behaving. White Rock is standing over the sea like a broken tooth. Waves hit the cliffs and explode into spray. In the highest tower, there is a room with no doors on the outside and far too much magic on the inside. Sasha has been counting the hums in the walls for weeks. Alinis's ward is clever. It is watching her. It is checking her pulse, her temperature, the amount of magic in the air. Every time she tried to push her power out properly, the tower answered with violet bolts, pins in her nerves, and the taste of metal in her mouth. The first day, it has knocked her out. The second, it has knocked her down. The third, it had only made her knees shake. Now, it's the seventh time. She is standing barefoot on the cold stones, with her hair tied messily back, orange light coiling between her fingers like it's impatient. The ward is buzzing all around, just low enough to be annoying, just high enough to say, don't. She smiles up at the ceiling. Relax, I am not trying to blow you up much. Instead of pushing against the cage, she reaches into its heartbeat. When the ward sends a small feeler to check if she's calm, she hooks her magic onto that and slips along it, like grabbing someone's wrist instead of their hand. The tower shudders. Violet flashes crawl over the walls, sting her skin, but they flicker now instead of slamming. The system can decide if the bridge is coming from inside or outside. Come on, stupid machine, she mutters. Make a mistake for me. It does, just a little. For half a heartbeat, one thread in the net loosens. She rams a thin, needle-sharp corridor ping through that gap and sends it flying across the continent straight into the Department of Magic like a thrown knife. Help, Darkwood, now. Minutes later, the wall in front of her ripples. A pale bubble appears, then unfolds. 5 robed figures step out, bringing the smell of burnt paper and long work hours with them. One of them glances at the crackling stones. You weren't supposed to be able to do anything in here. Sasha wipes a line of dried blood from her lip with the back of her hand. Alinis is good, she says, but he is not perfect. They don't waste time. A scroll opens in the air. Lines of light sketching out Darkwood, Volunteer, the Vampire Court. Words like imbalance, containment, preemptive. A human variable in the middle of it. Max. A girl with red eyes who has killed a woman in a different world. Are you sure he is in Darkwood? One asks. I pulled him there once, Sasha says. Someone else pulled him again. The tether snapped from that direction. I can feel where. Objective? Volunteer, Sasha says. Her jaw flexes. And his court. And the girl. The human, if he gets in the way. They look at each other. It is not a noble mission, but it's practical. They have been waiting for a reason like this. Fine, the lead mage says. Open the door. She does. Orange fire spills from her hands into the air, folding space like cloth. The tower shivers as the corridor tears open. Not the thin needle she has used before, but a full rip straight to the heart of Darkwood's castle. On the other side, she can feel the stone older than her country, forests that hate being watched, a knot of power where Volunteer is standing. The word screams in violet as she steps forward with the department, but It's already too late. White Rock vanishes behind them. Back in Darkwood, I am losing a fight with a bow tie. This is a torture device, I say. No, this is a bow tie, Martha says. Your definition of torture is very soft. She flicks her fingers. The fabric tightens, straightens, then lets me breathe again. She has already attacked the rest of me. My normal clothes are gone, replaced by something that looks stolen from a vampire period drama. Dark jacket, white shirt, polished boots, trousers without a single wrinkle. My hair has been bullied into some kind of shape. You really like this whole era, I grumble, looking in the mirror. It was a good century, she says, adjusting the line of my collar. People wore proper clothes and died of stupid illnesses instead of boredom. I'm about to say something back when I actually look at her. The dress is deep red, cut sharp at the waist and softer below, moving like water when she turns. Her hair is pinned up in a way that shows her neck on purpose. Her eyes glow faintly, like someone turned up the contrast on the world around her. You, I say very intelligently. We? She says, already smirking. You're going to cause a diplomatic incident, I say. Half the room will die of heart attacks. That is one way to win a war, she says. Come, we are late. The corridors shimmer with candlelight. Other vampires are drifting towards the grand hall in dark clothes and darker moods, glancing at us with open curiosity and badly hidden disgust. A human on Martha's arm is a statement, and everyone here can read it. The grand hall is still hall when we step in. High ceiling, columns, banners, music. If you squint, you can almost forget this place is surrounded by a forest that eats people. A volunteer is waiting at the far end on a low platform, with his cloak falling heavy around him. He looks exactly like a lord of Darkwood should. Calm, cold, and like he has seen more years than the banners. His gaze hits me like a hand between the shoulder discs. We walk up. Every step feels loud. Father, Martha says, bowing her head just enough. This is Max. Volunteer studies me. You understand where you are? He asks. In your hall, I say, trying not to sweat on your floor. A few guests choke. Martha's grip on my arm tightens hard enough to bruise. You understand who is standing next to you, he goes on. Yes, I say, mostly. Work in progress. His mouth twitches, it might almost be a smile. And you understand that by staying at her side, you make yourself a target for all our enemies and some of our friends. I'm starting to realize, I say, but I chose to be here. He holds my gaze for another long second, then nods once. You sound like a fool, he says, but you sound like the same fool every time. That is something already. To Martha, lower. You always did choose difficult company. C'est mon choix, toujours, she mutters. The music swells again, rescuing me. A volunteer turns away towards a circle of older vampires. The room exhales. Martha looks at me with her eyes bright. Let's dance, she says. I don't know how, I protest. Good, she says. Then you will not have bad habits. She drags me to the center of the hall. One hand finds mine. The other lands on my shoulder. We move. I stepped on her foot twice in the first minute, nearly tripped over someone's leg and almost collided with a tall vampire who gave me a look like he's seriously considering to murder me. Martha glared him away without breaking the rhythm of our dance. Relax, she says under her breath. It is just walking in circles with extra steps. Walking in circles has been my whole life, I say. I did not know we made a sport out of it. Max, she warns me, but there's a laugh hiding in it. By the third song, I stop counting the beats and just follow wherever she is pushing me. The room blurs a little. Faces, lights, banners, dark stone walls. For a strange moment, it feels almost peaceful. Then the headache starts. It's a small pressure at first, behind my eyes, the now familiar feeling of corridors doing something when they shouldn't, somewhere nearby. I try to ignore it. Maybe Darkwood music comes with a free migraine. But the pressure keeps growing, stretching like a thin line from my temples down my neck. Martha? I murmur slowly. Something is wrong. Define wrong, she says. The ceiling feels heavier, I say, and my head is buzzing. Not good. Her eyes flick up. The banner above us twitches without wind. A patch of air under the hall's rafters ripples like hot asphalt. Put your hand on my shoulder, she says quietly. It is on your shoulder. Tighter. I obey. The ceiling splits in half. A thin orange crack draws itself across the dark stone. For a heartbeat, it is just a line. Then it starts widening sharply, ripping space open. Light spills through. Not sunlight, something colder. Figures drop out of that wound in the air and land on the invisible ground above the hall. Robes, sigils, shields already up. Department. The music dies mid-note. Voices start spiking into shouts. The last to step out is Sasha. She appears on the balcony rail like she has been placed there on purpose, with her cloak snapping in corridor wind. Her hair is messier than I've ever seen, face pale, eyes like sharpened glass. Orange light is coiling lazily around her wrists, eager to strike anyone who comes too close to her. For a second, everything slows. Our eyes meet across the hall. I see the surprise that I'm here, then anger that I'm here like this, in Volunteers' Hall, in the stupid formal clothes, holding Martha's hand. Underneath that is some older hurt she doesn't have time to unpack. Then the world slams back into fast forward. Shields! Someone on the balcony shouts. White domes bloom under the department mages as the first wave of thrown knives, spells, and chairs hits them. The floor lights up in circles. Anti-magic sigils burn into the stone. Lines are racing between pillars, under tables, around the center of the hall. Vampires recoil with hisses and screams as the light catches their feet, their clothes, their skin. Martha drags me down so fast that I hit the floor. A beam of pure white slams into the space we had just occupied and keeps going, burning a neat hole in the far wall. Stay behind me, she snaps. Red sparks explode around her fingers. I'm about to agree when the corridor's pressure in my head becomes a physical jab. Sasha flicks her hand. A thin, precise bolt of orange drops from the balcony and nails me in the chest. There's no time to raise an arm, no time to think. Sound snaps off. The hall tilts. The last thing I see is Martha's face, halfway between fury and fear. Then the floor meets me and everything goes out. The hall doesn't get calmer without me. It gets worse. From the balcony rail, Sasha watches Max crumble. She notes the angle he falls, the way his head hits the floor, the fact that his chest still moves a little. Good. Out of the way, not dead. Not yet. She doesn't have time to care more than that. Martha's scream cuts through the noise like a blade. Red light erupts where she is standing. It surges up her arms and across the floor, burning out the nearest sigils. Two department mages flinch as their carefully drawn lines snap like cut wires. The anti-magic pattern under their feet buckles, leaving pockets where vampiric spells can function at full strength. Priority targets! Volunteer and the girl! The lead mage shouts. Do not let her reach us! Too late. Martha moves. She's not graceful now, she's fast. One moment she's next to Max's body, the next she's halfway up a pillar using broken stone like steps. Red fire is lashing out from her hands, not as precise bolts but as raw, ripping arcs that tear out chunks of the balcony front. Sasha ducks as a piece of carved stone whips past her ear and explodes against the wall behind her. The balcony shakes under her feet. You again, Martha snarls as she lands on the railing. Her dress is ripped, hair is coming down, eyes are shining bright like fresh blood. Did you really miss me that much? You are very loud for someone standing on a structurally unsound platform, Sasha says, with her voice being cold. Drop dead. Again. She snaps her fingers. Orange lines shoot out along the balcony rail, trying to wrap around Martha's ankles like chains. Martha jumps, flips, comes down on the other side, slamming a boot into the stone so hard that cracks crawl out from under her heel. The whole section of the balcony tilts. Two department mages stumble, with their shields wobbling. Martha uses the angle, pushes off the falling stone, and launches herself straight at Sasha. They collide hard enough to send a shock through the rail. Up close, their magic doesn't stay neat. Orange and red clash at stooping angles, burning each other out in flashes that sting exposed skin. Sasha fights tight, with small motions, no wasted energy. She tries to catch Martha in clean shapes, a loop of hardened space around the wrist, a bit of force in front of her throat, a corridor slice aimed at her shoulder. Martha is fighting like she is tearing a wallpaper off a wall, everything at once. She grabs the things Sasha throws at her and rips them apart, sometimes literally. A corridor slice becomes a shower of harmless sparks. An orange loop around her arm turns black and falls as ash. When she can't dissolve something, she breaks whatever it's attached to. Railings, flagpoles, a hanging lantern that goes spinning into the hall. You should have stayed in your tower, Martha hisses, forcing Sasha back a step. You break the world everywhere you go. I patch the holes that you leave. Sasha spits back, ducking under a wild swing and ramming a knee into Martha's stomach. Martha snarls in a way that has nothing human in it. Her next blast is wordless and a wave of red that fills all the space. Sasha throws her both hands up, wrenching the air into a shallow dome. The wave hits it and splits, fire blazing past on both sides, licking the walls, setting banners alight. Below, Volunteer and the department are busy trying to kill each other. He anchors himself in the center of the hall, drawing on the castle's bones. Shadows are pouring from him, wrapping around pillars, grabbing at the feet of the nearest mages. He hurls spears of dark at their shields, each impact leaving cracks in the translucent surfaces. They answer with circles, big ones. Lines of pale light carve themselves into the floor, under his boots, climbing his legs like glowing vines. Chains of pure white whip out of the sigils and try to lock around his arms, his throat, his waist. Whenever he tears one apart, two more snake in from another angle. Keep him on the ground, the lead mage yells over the roar. He can't merge with the structure if we bind him into it. Terrible plan, Volunteer says calmly, and the whole hall jumps as he pulls on the foundations. The floor under the department bulges, throwing three of them off balance. Stone spikes punch up around them in a rough ring, forcing them to waste spells deflecting, not attacking. A chandelier tears free of its chain and comes screaming down. Two vampires vanish just before it hits. One is crushed under it with a short, ugly sound. On the collapsing balcony, Sasha sees the pattern the department is trying to build on the floor. She sees the circle under Volunteer's boots almost close. She also sees Martha's next punch coming and decides to stop giving ground. She drops her shield, just for a beat, and reaches sideways into the corridor. Reality twitches. For a second, there are three Sashas in front of Martha. One to the left, one to the right, one in the center. A visionary trick. Only one of them is solid. The other two are ghosts, thin as smoked glass. Martha hesitates half a heartbeat. Her muscles are firing in 3 different ways at once. It's all Sasha needs. She sidesteps the real blow, catches Martha's wrist with a loop of hardened space, and twists. Bone pops. Martha's snarl turns into a sharp sound of pain. You're predictable, Sasha says. You always go straight. Martha's answer is to head-butt her. It's not elegant, it's effective. Sasha's vision flashes wide. Her nose breaks with a crunch. She lets go on instinct, hand flying to her face. The next red blast catches Sasha full in the chest, ripping through her coat, slamming her back into a pillar hard enough to crack it. The stone groans. Dust is pouring down. Stay out of my world, Martha growls, advancing. You took half of my life once. You don't get to take the other. You killed mine, Sasha spits, pushing herself up on shaking arms. You talk like you are the victim. You're just better at pretending that you feel bad. She snaps her fingers. For a heartbeat, the world around Martha shifts. The broken balcony, the burning banners, the chaos below all vanish. She is standing in a classroom again. The air smells like dust and cheap perfume. Laughter snickers around her, high and cruel. Someone says carrot in a way that makes it a weapon. Someone else throws a pen. Max's voice. Martha? She whirls. There is no Max in that room, only desks and old pain. Sasha uses that half second of dislocation to move. She slides along a corridor line, reappearing right behind Martha, hands already shaping a spell. Orange bands snap around Martha's upper arms and chest, pulling tight, crushing her lungs. Look at you, Sasha whispers in her ear. Still the same little monster who thought my mother's blood would fix her. Martha lets herself fall backward. It looks like giving up. It isn't. Her full weight slams into Sasha, knocking both of them down. The half-broken balcony floor doesn't like that. Cracks race outward. The whole section shears away and drops. They fall together, still locked, spinning through smoke and dust. Martha uses the spin to wrench one arm free of orange bands, tearing skin and fabric. Blood is running down to her fingertips. She claps that hand to Sasha's shoulder midair and pushes. Red detonates at point-blank range. They hit the ground in different directions. Sasha tumbles along the stone, comes up on one knee, coughing. Martha smashes into a table, splintering it, then rolls to a crouch. Their clothes are shredded now, hair undone, both breathing hard. Around them, the battle is roaring. Department mages shout, vampires scream, volunteers' power is grinding against the binding spell like tectonic plates. The circle under his feet is glowing brighter, symbols spinning faster. Sasha sees it finish in her peripheral vision. Now, the lead mage cries. The lines under volunteers snap together, chains of light shoot up. Not just from the floor, but from the walls, the ceiling, the broken balcony. They wrap around his arms, his chest, his throat, digging in. For a moment, he looks like an insect pinned in a display case. Martha sees it too. She looks from Sasha, bleeding and battered in front of her, to her father caught in the circle. The spell reaches deeper than him. She can feel it hooking into the castle, the hill, the forest beyond. If it goes off as written, it won't stop Volunteer. Red power surges around her hands. She could take Sasha's head off with one more hit, end a personal war, take revenge for every ruined piece of her life, every push, every erased memory. Volunteer meets her eyes. It's only a second, but it squeezes a lifetime in. Pride, order, a command she doesn't want and can't refuse. She swears, low and vicious. She turns her back on Sasha and runs. Coward! Sasha spits after her, but her voice is thin now, more tired and triumphant. Martha hits the edge of the circle at full speed. The light burns her ankles. She doesn't care. She slams both hands into the lines, pouring red fire into white. The pattern fights her, then wobbles, then screams. One of the chains around Volunteer's arm snaps. The mage who was feeding it doubles over, blood spraying from his nose. "Hold it!" someone yells. Volunteer feels the spell twist. He can also feel Darkwood under his feet. The way the circle is latched into everything he has ever bound to this place. If he keeps fighting, they'll tear a hole in his realm big enough to drive an army through. So he stops fighting their way. He lets the chains bite fully. He opens himself to the net and shoves everything he has left down and sideways into the stone, into the roof, into the empty air above the hole. The ritual doesn't understand mercy. It just takes what it can get. Light and shadow erupt together. For one long, impossible second, everything in the hall is outlined in white. Vampires, mages, banners, dust, Martha's hunched figure in the circle. Then, the world blows apart. Max, already unconscious on the floor, never sees it. He feels it. Even in the dark, his body registers the shock. A deep rolling punch that lifts him and the floor under him at the same time. His last half-formed dream of the ball shatters into light and noise. The grand hall folds in on itself. Pillars explode. The ceiling tears open like paper. The balcony where Sasha and Martha fought disintegrates. The staircase cracks from top to bottom. Somewhere in that storm of stone and magic, Volunteer dies. Somewhere else in the blast, Martha flies backwards, hits something hard and doesn't get up. On the far side of the implosion, on a balcony that isn't there anymore, Sasha throws one last desperate corridor around herself, and one other mage lets it grab whatever coordinates it can and vanishes into the orange. Darkwood roars, then groans, then slowly starts to settle. The ball is over.